Welcome to Bloodstained Stories, where we dive deep into the dark and gripping world of true crime. I'm your host, Joseph, and today we're exploring the complex and tragic case of Aileen Wuornos, one of America's most infamous female serial killers. Known for murdering 7 men in Florida between 1989 and 1990, Wuornos claimed that her actions were in self-defense against sexual assault. Join me as we delve into Aileen Wuornos' troubled life, examine the details of her crimes, and discuss the investigation and trial that led to her conviction and execution. Are you ready to journey into the heart of true crime? Let's get started. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, a string of brutal murders in Florida brought to light one of the most controversial figures in criminal history. Aileen Wuornos, a troubled woman with a traumatic past, was arrested and later convicted for the murders of 7 men. Dubbed by the media as America's first female serial killer, Wuornos' life and crimes sparked intense debate over the nature of her actions and the societal failures that shaped her destiny. Aileen Carol Wuornos was born on February 29, 1956, in Rochester, Michigan. Her early life was marred by instability and abuse. Abandoned by her teenage mother and raised by her grandparents, Wuornos endured a childhood filled with neglect and physical and sexual abuse. By the age of 11, she had turned to prostitution, trading sex for money and food. Wuornos' adult life was characterized by a series of troubled relationships and run-ins with the law. She struggled with substance abuse and mental health issues, and her transient lifestyle took her across various states. By the late 1980s, she had settled in Florida, continuing to support herself through sex work. Wuornos' killing spree began in 1989 and continued until her arrest in 1991. Her victims were predominantly middle-aged men whom she encountered while hitchhiking or working as a prostitute. Wuornos claimed that her actions were in self-defense, alleging that all her victims had either raped or attempted to rape her. The reality of her motives remains a subject of debate. Significant incidents in Wuornos' criminal activities include Richard Mallory, November 30, 1989, Wuornos' first known victim. Mallory, a convicted rapist, was found shot multiple times. Wuornos claimed self-defense, but her later confessions and the nature of the crime suggested premeditation. David Spears, May 19, 1990, a construction worker whose nude body was found along Highway 19 in Florida. He had been shot 6 times. Charles Carskadden, May 31, 1990, his body was discovered in Pasco County, Florida. He had been shot 9 times. Peter Seams, June 1990, a retired merchant seaman. His car was found abandoned, but his body was never recovered. Wuornos and her partner, Tyria Moore, were seen abandoning Seams' vehicle, leading to their eventual identification. Troy Burress, July 31, 1990, a sausage salesman. His body was found in a wooded area along a state road. He had been shot twice. Charles Humphreys, September 11, 1990, a former Air Force major and police chief. His body was found in Marion County, Florida. He had been shot 6 times. Walter Antonio, November 19, 1990, a trucker and security guard. His body was found nearly naked near a remote logging road. He had been shot 4 times. The investigation into the murders was challenging due to the random nature of the crimes and Wuornos' transient lifestyle. However, the recovery of Peter Seams' car and eyewitness accounts of Wuornos and Moore led authorities to focus on them as suspects. Wuornos was arrested on January 9, 1991, at the Last Resort, a biker bar in Volusia County, Florida. Tyria Moore played a crucial role in the investigation. After her arrest, she cooperated with the police, persuading Wuornos to confess during a series of recorded phone calls. These confessions, combined with physical evidence, solidified the case against Wuornos. Aileen Wuornos faced multiple trials for the murders. Her first trial for the murder of Richard Mallory began in January 1992. The prosecution painted Wuornos as a calculating and cold-blooded killer, while the defense argued that her actions were driven by years of abuse and trauma. Despite her claims of self-defense, Wuornos was found guilty and sentenced to death. Subsequent trials for the other murders resulted in additional convictions and death sentences. Ultimately, Wuornos received 6 death sentences, reflecting the severity and brutality of her crimes. Aileen Wuornos' case garnered significant media attention and public interest, not only because of the nature of her crimes, but also due to the complex issues it raised. Her life story, marked by extreme abuse and neglect, sparked discussions about the societal factors that contribute to criminal behavior. On October 9, 2002, after a decade on death row, Wuornos was executed by lethal injection in Florida State Prison. In her final years, she displayed erratic behavior, fluctuating between remorse and defiance, and remained a polarizing figure until the end. Aileen Wuornos' life and crimes serve as a chilling reminder of the interplay between individual pathology and societal failures. Her story, while marked by horror and violence, also highlights the profound impact of trauma and neglect. Wuornos' legacy continues to evoke debate about justice, mental health, and the criminal justice system's role in addressing complex human behavior. Reflecting on Wuornos' case, we are reminded of the importance of understanding the deeper factors that drive individuals to commit heinous acts. Her tragic tale underscores the need for compassion, vigilance, and comprehensive approaches to preventing such atrocities in the future. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Bloodstained Stories as we examined the tragic and controversial case of Aileen Wuornos. If you found this deep dive into one of America's most notorious killers compelling, please subscribe and leave a review. Your support helps us bring more in-depth true crime stories to you. Follow us on social media for updates and behind-the-scenes content. Have a theory or a case you'd like us to cover? We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and keep exploring the mysteries of the true crime world.